Okay, today I just was thinking I wanted to create a real basic loop, and so I thought this is a cool rhythm for that. We're in the key of A minor, and I'm going to show you how to do a lot with very little. What that means is I'm basically staying within the blues box. We call it blues box, pentatonic minor blues. Many of you know that, some of you may not. If you don't, what we're working with, the notes are basically the 7 of the D string. Well, actually the 5 and the 7 on the D string. Let's start at the 7 on the D, 5 on the G, 7 on the G, okay, 5 on the B, 8 on the B, 5 on the high E, 8 on the high E. So what it sounds like in slow motion would be something like this. Sorry. So these are the notes contained in the minor blues scale in the key of A minor. So you might say, well, okay, that sounds very, sort of scaly. It does, but I wanted to be clear on what the notes I'm going to be using. But what I do with those notes, it might be slightly more interesting because I'm starting to bend them. Even if it's a slight bend. Doesn't have to be a whole step. It could be a half step, quarter step. Or I could do a double stop where I grab the 7th fret of both the G and the B string and start out with a pre-bend. Very effective. All I'm doing is taking that, it's a double stop, I'm taking the G and the B, I'm bending it ever so slightly and then attacking with my 2 fingers. Gets that sort of Steely Dan. Beatles. All kinds of stuff. So what I really want to illustrate though, when I hit this loop, it's just going to loop around. It's going to do a couple of things. It's going to do this. This is what I'm doing. A minor 7th to D9. If you don't know what those are, I cover it at jimmydillon.com. So there's a lot of info on this kind of stuff. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time explaining what the notes in the chord are and stuff. Just know that it looks like that. You just bar those last 4 strings, 5th fret, and then catch that low A, the 5th fret on the low E string with your 2nd finger. And when you go to your D chord, you got your 2nd finger to the 5th fret of the A, your 1st finger on the 4th fret of the D, and the rest are barred. You lay it down, kind of a James Brown. And that's called D9, okay? Don't want to get into theory about it or anything like that, except to say, within the context of this loop, my main home, I'm at home here, okay? Then you hear me do a little walk up. I'm fond of those little walk up things. So it's an open E to the 3, 4, and 5 of the low E string. Get that? That's the one move I do, the first move. I use that to differentiate. I might go for a while. I'll do tempos a little more, but just kind of break it up, right? You don't have to do it every time. And then I did a little, sort of Santana walk down, which is just nothing more than my 7th fret on the D string and walk it down chromatically with your 3, 2, 1, and back a half a step. So that goes to the D 9th chord. So it sounds like this in slow motion. And then go ahead and chord that D9. It's one way to do it. There's many ways. And I eventually went to this Hendrix chord, or looks like that. That's your 5 chord. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to sort of let this loop run, and I'm going to do some licks, and I'm going to take them apart for you and tell you what I did. Now, the way I'm doing these licks, I just wanted to remind you that I'm just using those 7 notes right there. Yeah, you could, but we're not doing those low tones. We're just staying here. Okay, now I might move up, do a little walk down, but I'll try to stay right in this little box here, this blues box. It's really between the 5th and the 8th fret. I'm not really leaving that little box, okay? So that's our equator right there. All right, let's see what I can come up with. And then if I play something you like, just holler out. Wherever you are. Even from Perth, Australia, I see you out there. All right, here goes the little loop, and see if I can come up with something cool that you might dig. And I'll go up a little bit higher. Down the A in an octave. I'll show you that, don't worry. It's kind of cool. So that was me doing nothing more than just kind of ambling around that. And the way I kind of differentiate between the rhythms is that, as I showed you, I went from there, and then on alternate I'd go. Not every time though. And then eventually I did that chromatic walk down that I showed you with a 5 resolve. That or not, E7th is fine. Yeah, I like a regular E7th, it's fine. Okay, so what was I doing there though? I was playing a little kind of a variation of this lick. And those 3 notes right there, that A, C, D, or sorry, what is that? Yeah, A, C, and D. A, C, D, and then stretch that D up a little. Just those 3 notes you can get mileage out of. Then I think my next move was I did that little pre-bend, and I know this is maybe a little advanced for some of you, but it's not that hard because you're just taking your 3rd finger, putting it on the G and the B string, and before you hit it, you bend up ever so slightly, and it comes down. It's very effective against a minor, a 1/4 change. It just colors it, okay? And then I went up a little higher. I started to wander those higher notes, right? And I did a little trill. And these are all like little hammer-on things you can do. Keep it interesting. And every once in a while I'll hit an octave. Check this out. Thank you, Chuck Berry. All I'm doing is hitting the same note on different strings. But it has a thing. And then if I want to walk down the chromatic walk down, melodically, here's one way you can do it that stays within this parameter, but I'm doing an octave. So I'm hitting an A here on the 7th fret of the D string, and I'm picking up this high A on the 5th fret of the E, and I'm pinching them. Okay, we call those octaves. Now in this case, if you walk it down chromatically, one at a time, it sounds pretty good. Because my rhythm is, and if you play this over that, you got quite a little thing going on there. So now I've given you basically 3 or 4 moves that you could do around this simple rhythm. And if you want, you can either I'll give you one right now. I'll play a little. We'll let this roll, and then I'll let you play over it. And then I'll play with you, okay? So let's just listen to the rhythm now for a minute. And then sometimes it's good for me anyway to listen to something and let it set up in my mind. So I'm just listening to that A minor and D9. I can hear that it's a 1/4. My mind, then a little walk up, right? And then I'll alternate it. And I'll probably do it again here, I think. I'm going to do my octave. Remember that I just showed you? If you want want to, you can go all the way up to here, to the 12th fret. Nice and slow, no hurry, right? And then now go a little higher. Still using those notes. Now we got our walk down. Not bad. How about just like an E here? So that's just me fooling around, jamming against an A minor and a D9, and then with that little walk down. But I hope you can feel more than anything what I'm playing here. That's why I like to sometimes listen to the chord changes before I jump right in and play. For me, it helps, and just sort of set up the groove. And that's where a looper kind of, for me, comes in handy as a tool. I don't use them much live, if at all. But if I do use them live, like on a solo gig, I try to do it in such a way that I let the audience in on what I'm doing. I saw Ed Sheeran, I picked up some tips from him, and he always builds his loop in front of you. You know, like he doesn't just hit a button, the whole band starts playing like you see at a Tommy Bahama bar or something. That doesn't cut it for me. So anyway, that's my A minor little exercise. I hope you got something out of it, and shed some light, and most importantly, bring some fun to your guitar playing, because that's why I'm here. So if you have any questions, hit me up at jimmydillon.com. Love your comments, ideas, whatever you got. See you down the road.